Greetings to one and all, it's your old buddy Jay here, coming at you with some more countermeasures goodness. Another game changer for you today, and today I will be looking at Fast and the Furious Crossroads, or as I like to call it, a huge waste of time. Now, welcome to what I consider to be the worst game on earth. I have been playing this on and off for the last week, and it's total garbage. Now, I do like all different types of games. I prefer some over others, but I do occasionally dabble in racing games, and Gran Turismo was always a huge favourite of mine for a long time, and that series has just got better and better, and the quality of the driving and the cars and the graphics and the immersion has just got, especially with VR, has taken driving games to a whole new level for me. This takes it right back. This is a slow motion car crash full of B-list actors, so you just cannot stop staring at this in disbelief. I would also describe it as a garbage truck on fire careering towards a petrol station full of frat boys, so it's all a bit, do you lift, bruh? It's all that kind of that sort of attitude that the Fast and Furious franchise has. And has always have, and I have always despised those films. There was one, the first one was just like a street racing film. The second one, they thought the franchise was dead, so they just, all the actors who were in the original didn't go back, and did like Tokyo Drift or whatever that one was. And as far as I was concerned, that was the end of that franchise. Thank goodness for that. But then it had a resurgence, and they reinvented it as like a kind of fast chasing spy thriller. And now every film has a lead up to the most ridiculous scenarios that involve sort of muscle cars, and that's fine if you like muscle cars and all that kind of stuff. But what I don't like is the whole attitude and tone of voice around those films, where Vin Diesel, who is the main protagonist, he thinks he's amazing in real life and in the film. He's never been in a film where he isn't OP from the start. He literally has zero character development, terrible dialogue. His acting is terrible. He has a smug face in every scene, and I think I generally just dislike the guy. I can't help it. He just gives off this air of it just makes me literally hate him, which is rare for me, because I like most people, but not Vin Diesel. He is the worst. There's a whole cast of characters that sort of follow him around. He's always right. He always pulls off these amazing things. He's always, and I just don't. He's just not likable to me. So that luckily translates really well into this game, because it's exactly the same. He actually did voice his own CGI character in this game. It's a massive cash grab. Obviously, they're just tagging the license onto this second-rate racing game, where they've tried to do a few sort of setups. Similar to the films. It just doesn't work. So the Fast films, like I said, they took a dive and reinvented themselves. I do find myself watching those films and also playing this game. I feel myself getting dumber as every minute passes. It truly is just the worst kind of combination of really terrible gameplay, really shocking story. The graphics are bad. Like I said, the difficulty spikes go from just mundane drive from point A to point B that lasts for ages. They're so boring, and then the difficulty spikes into like some street race that doesn't quite work because your car handling is so bad. And the computer that you're racing against has excellent cornering and you don't. So if some of those, some of the game, I went through the first third of this no problem, and then I hit this part where you're doing a sort of like a 10-minute street race, and I just kept failing again and again and again. And I'm not saying that I'm the best driver ever. I'm not saying that, but I'm competent when it comes to racing games, and unfortunately the handling of this just doesn't work. So as you can see here, there's some CGI of I can never remember her name, but she plays Letty in the Michelle Rodriguez. That's it. She plays Letty in the franchise. I know too much about this franchise. I really need to start getting another hobby. Now they both her and Vin Diesel, like I said, they voice their own characters. I don't know what's happened to her face. She's had some work done. Vin Diesel has got one of those inflatable arm suits on under his vest. Obviously, you can just imagine him standing next to the designer going, "Yeah, more muscles. Yeah, nice one. Yeah, Miami, we're family." It's just shocking. He just doesn't seem right. The graphics they don't even feel good for last gen. Like I said, Michelle Rodriguez looks like she's had a face replacement. I'm not really convinced about the character models. The gameplay is, just a variety of go from point A to point B, or race this, or collect this, and that is just rinse and repeat again and again and again, with really lengthy cutscenes in between each one. So they're trying to turn it into a movie experience, and it just does not work. The entire game itself is a mighty 5 hours from start to finish, which is an absolute rip-off. This game was $59.99, that's in pounds, on the PSN store, which is just an unbelievable cash grab. 5 hours of gameplay, and at least 2 of those are cutscenes. I swear to God, they are cutscenes. So it's just, I just can't, I can't fathom that this exists. Unfortunately, there is a fan base for those films, like there's a fan base for the Transformers movies, the Michael Bay ones. Nobody could really work out why they keep getting made, but like Japan and China, those places especially love those films, and they love these films, which is why they keep getting made. I mean, they're about to do the 9th one. There's spin-offs with The Rock in and all sorts of stuff happening around this. And actually, the Hobbs Shaw spin-off isn't actually too bad. I said that out loud. Whereas, the original sort of cast with old Vin Diesel, it just is not good. Like I said, the cutscenes are overly long, this, I think, is what happens when people who traditionally are involved in films try to make games. There has never really been a great movie tie-in, to a franchise like this. It's never really worked. I mean, they've made Spider-Man games that are really good. Oh, yeah, lovely. There's a lot of these kind of bugs that you see in the game as well, which just makes me shudder. The Spider-Man games, they exist, and they're very good. They're not the ones that are tied to the movies, except for Spider-Man 2, which I'll give a pass. They're pretty much garbage. Same with the Batman films. The Batman Arkham game's amazing, not related to the films whatsoever. As soon as there's any kind of film tie-in, total garbage. And this is exactly the same with this. Now, I need to talk about the design. The design is absolutely pony. As you can see, the HUD here, it's just, it looks like something off a Nokia 3210. It is just the worst. I wouldn't even expect to see that kind of HUD on my iPhone, so I just don't understand. They spent zero time doing it. During the races, there is no map, so you can't tell where your corners are coming up, so you'll be absolutely hammering it trying to win. Like I said, I got stuck on this one particular part where I was just doing it again and again. There was no map, which is just the least helpful thing ever, so you don't know where the hairpins are, etc. Really, really bad. Now, when I first played this, I was repeating the cutscenes all the time. So you'd fail, and then you'd go back, and it would show you the cutscene again and again and again, and it was just so painful. I had to sit through all the cutscenes every single time I restarted. I failed. Something stupid happened, like I got stuck on a rock, and I had to restart and watch the cutscenes again. Turns out that was a bug. So actually, you can skip the cutscenes after you've seen them. After you've seen them for the first time. They make you watch it the first time. You don't have to watch it the second. But I had a bug, so I sat and watched a lot of these cutscenes about 20 times, and they sucked worse and worse every time I watched it. Bugs. What can I say? This thing is just stuck with bugs. It has contact issues. So some things you can drive through in certain parts of the game. You go to drive through them again at a key point where you're kind of bottlenecking with a whole load of cars. That won't let you do that. It's just decided on that particular level that those curbs, like here, look. So I can crash through anything usually that size. Driving through the desert on a completely random thing like this. There's a random telephone pole and you just hit it and it completely stops you dead. And that happens all the time because you get caught up on the scenery. And you know, it's just unexcusable. It just inexcusable. It just doesn't. It just shouldn't exist in today's. You know, the AI. You know, the build, the construction of how these games should work. It just shouldn't give you this issue. You know, not today. I mean, you'd expect it like 10 years ago, but now it's just sloppy design work, sloppy programming, people just cutting corners to get this out as quickly as possible. So the other thing is that the physics is completely shafted. It just doesn't work unless you're racing on like a completely flat level. You know, a street race like in this, where you're bombing through the desert to go to these random points. It just doesn't feel good. The car doesn't feel connected to the ground. So look, I had a quick look behind me. Dust clouds completely disappeared. There's no realism attached to this whatsoever. Whenever you do actually decide to use the right thumbstick to control the camera to see the side of your car or the front, that doesn't really work properly. And then you just see these kind of two lifeless dummies sitting in your car, even when they're spouting dialogue, which they do constantly. So again and again I'm hearing you know, people saying like, "Oh, that was close," and "Oh, use all of the road," and "Yeah, don't worry, Letty, I'm coming to help you," and it just goes on and on and on, and it's like, oh my gosh, just say it a few times and then be done. You know, good games programming now, you know, they understand that that's going to be in your ear all the time. If you're having to restart, or if those particular levels are long, then just remove it, you know. But this game doesn't do that, because why would you spend the time when you can just shunt it out? So yeah, a couple more sort of familiar faces here. There are a few more in the game that sort of pop up here and there that you know that are all sort of fully voice acted. That's where the budget went. It went on the cast, and quite frankly, it doesn't really matter. They do introduce a couple of extra characters, which I showed you earlier, which are the two girls. You spend most of the time with them, and that would be because, you know, they had Vin Diesel and his crew in for like 2 days doing voice acting, and then they didn't want anything more to do with it other than a check. Now they did turn up at I think it was like PAX or E3 to introduce the game. You know, was anyone really surprised when they arrived? It was just like, oh, okay, fine, there's another crappy tie-in, can't wait to not play it. So yeah, so again, this is another lengthy cutscene. I think this character's called Roman, the dude in the suit. He appears in a lot of the Fast and Furious franchise, and you know, he's meant to be the comic relief. He's the least funny thing in this whole thing. I have, as you can tell from the tone of my voice, this is not a good game. I would not recommend it. I've rage quit it several times. You know, I think like the designers and the writers and pretty much everyone involved would have been better spending their time doing absolutely anything else other than creating this game. It's just so bad. It's a shocking display of cash grabbing on a crappy old franchise. I'm sure it will make the money and perpetuate the cycle of garbage that these tie-in games tend to spew out every single year. It's truly terrible, and I would avoid it at all costs. Yeah, it's just not good. It's not good. It doesn't feel good. You'd let it off if the gameplay was good, but it's not. You'd almost let it off if like the graphics were amazing, but they're not. You'd give it a pass in certain areas if the story was good, but it's not. It just you know, and the difficulty spikes go up and down. It's just not good in any way whatsoever. So I would thoroughly recommend you do not ever go near this game. I'm going to give this my first ever 0 out of 10. It's garbage. Don't buy it like I did. It's a massive waste of time. It's only 5 hours long, which is shocking on one level, but also the saving grace of my mental state. Having to never play this again. I just think it is truly shocking. Now, I am going to leave you with total spoilers, because you should never play it, so I'm going to spoil the end. I'm going to leave you with a clip of the ending scene, which is just absolutely comical. There's a part where your car drives into the path of a jet engine on the back of a rocket, which is just so funny, well, to me anyway. So sit back and enjoy. Be good, stay safe, and be kind to one another. Peace.